Connie. Thank you for everybody to come out. I know there's a bunch of competing things today. As Connie said, I'm Steve Owens, state representative, most of Watertown and parts of West and North Cambridge. I think I know just about all of you. The bill we're talking about today is officially called House 872, which is an act establishing a climate change superfund and promoting polluter responsibility. That's a mouthful, so we'll refer to it as the Polluters Pay Act. Principle of polluters pay is very simple, right? If you make a mess, you're responsible for cleaning it up. So the bill is simple as well. It imposes a new fee on the largest emitters of fossil fuels, or of greenhouse gases, in Massachusetts, that would go into a climate resiliency superfund. These would be polluters like Shell Oil. Their profits doubled in 2022 to $42 billion. ExxonMobil reported a record $56 billion in profits in 2022. $56 billion, by the way, is about the same size as the Massachusetts state budget. So that's the scale of the profits we're talking about. In ExxonMobil, by the way, they forecasted that climate change would cause global temperatures to rise as early as the 70s. So their private research predicted that burning fossil fuels was going to cause climate change, even as their company publicly denied and continues to deny the link. So these companies have gotten away with polluting our air with greenhouse gases, and they knew the consequences. So what this bill would require is that big polluters, those responsible for over 1 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases. So 1 billion, just to put that in perspective, the average American produces about 16 tons of greenhouse gases a year. These are companies we're going after that have produced 1 billion, so that's the scale we're talking about. This would go to the DEP for the purpose of a climate change and adaptation superfund. We know in Watertown that the superfund model works, right? We have an example right here in town that it works, the Arsenal. 1994 it was designated as a superfund site. Now it's an engine of growth for Watertown down the street from us here. So climate resiliency superfund, it can do the same for the areas most impacted by climate change. We know that storms are going to be more serious. We know that sea levels are going to rise. We know about shoreline erosion. Storm surges are going to impact our coast. Rising temperatures, shifting rainfall patterns, we've seen all that. And we're on the hook for those costs right now. So this year, as we know, Massachusetts experienced some really serious flooding. We had several towns declared local states of emergency. North Andover sustained close to 30 million in damages. There were about 75 farms along the Connecticut River, about 2,000 acres, which saw severe flood damage, estimated $10 to $15 million. Last month, flooding in Leominster caused about between 25 million and 40 million in damage to the city's infrastructure. So those are costs that cities and towns are bearing now because of climate change. We estimate that polluters pay would raise about $10 billion over the next 10 years, which would go to climate adaptation products, and those would include restoring coastal wetlands, upgrading stormwater drainage systems, making defensive upgrades to roads, bridges, subways, preparing for and recovering from hurricanes and other extreme weather events. We've estimated that a hurricane could cause about $70 billion in damage potentially if something like Superstorm Sandy would hit the Boston area. Public health programs even to address illness or injury caused by climate change. Relocating sewage treatment plants, retrofitting schools, and public housing and other buildings with energy efficient heating and cooling. Upgrading the electrical grid. We know if we're going to electrify everything to get rid of, move off of natural gas, we're going to need to electrify. Our grid is going to need to be able to handle all the new electrons on the grid. Addressing urban heat island through green spaces, urban forestry, and responding to ecosystem threats to forests and farms and fisheries, toxic algae blooms, loss of topsoil, things like that. So, $10 billion is a lot of money, but the oil and gas companies, it was reported, they are projected to spend more than $500 billion on identifying, extracting, and producing new oil and gas supplies just this year. So they are digging us deeper into this problem. A small portion of that to go to solving the problem is not too much to ask, I believe. So this is our chance to prepare the Commonwealth for the inevitable. The bill is designed to hold those responsible for these extreme weather events accountable, to price in those externalities. It will allow cities and towns to prepare for and protect their residents. So I am really excited about this legislation. I'm excited to partner with folks like the Better Future Project and 350 and Watertown Faces Climate Change and all you great environmental advocates out there. So I think that's all I had on the bill, and I'll pass it to, who do I pass it to next? To Laurel.